Check this out. Hey, that transition though. What's up? Wait, why is my chat all weird? Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. Can everyone hear me and see me well? Is the audio working? Wait, this is casting a shadow on me. That's bad. I've still not figured out where to put my mic. I don't know how to do this. Sorry if that's making noise. Anyway. We are back again. As you might know, I stream every Monday and Friday. And it is Friday. How are y'all doing on this Friday? Well, it's Friday afternoon here. I don't know what time it is for you. It's the weekend. Do weekends even matter anymore? I feel like time and days don't matter anymore. But I kind of feel it feels like the weekend to me. Like, I don't know. I've been really busy lately, so I've kind of been, I don't have a normal work schedule like the average person, but I've been working a lot this week, so it kind of really feels like the weekend for me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the mic position soon though, because it kind of obscures my vision of the monitor. But for now, it's good. Also, where's everyone from, or where is everyone currently located? I guess you can tell me where you're originally from too if you want. But where are you chatting from? It's always, I always like to kind of take a poll of where people are at. Florida. I might be going to Florida soon, actually. UK. Upstate New York, Netherlands, Massachusetts, California, NYC, Wisconsin. Stay safe when you visit. Pretty bad here with COVID. Well, my thought, like, I'm not intending to like be like in public and stuff. Like, I kind of want to go to the beach, but obviously I don't want to be in big crowds or anything. But I imagine the beach is not as bad as some other places, because it's not like people are like walking up next to you. Like, I feel like you're gonna be within 6 feet of anybody at any given time, right? Especially if people, I don't know, if people are probably aren't wearing masks to the beach, I imagine, but I don't know, I'll just have to do my research. Hello from Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, what's up, Tierzu? I didn't know you were in Wisconsin. Arizona. I'm in Alabama, for those that don't know. We I feel like we started out as one of, like, I don't know the actual data, but I know at the beginning we were kind of bragging about how we had pretty low amounts of COVID cases, but the number just keeps shooting up, you know, like every day. I haven't gone to the beach, but it was empty when a friend went at night/sunset. Yeah, I mean, I like to go to the beach at night anyway. Do I think Howie Hawkins will break Ralph Nader's record? Probably not. But yeah, today what I intend to do is just kind of look over the third-party candidates, just do like some basic Google research, both for my edification and maybe that'll be interesting to people, and also just to show that it's not that hard to research people, because I feel like people ask me a lot of questions like, I don't like, how do I stay informed? I don't understand. It's like literally just Google stuff. Like, it's not that hard. Like, obviously if you want to like really get into the nitty-gritty, like, you might have to you know, expend some effort, but I'll spend some time doing that in a minute. Let's play Google. Yeah, indeed. But also I don't know that much about these candidates besides the like super basic surface level stuff. So I would like to know more. you can kind of like guess what certain things might be based on their parties, but obviously individual candidates don't necessarily like line up with the party like one to one. I wonder if, so I have, by the way, can you hear the music? Is the music too low or too loud? I have a playlist that has been made by my brother who makes music, but he samples a lot, and sometimes those samples get me content ID'd, so I'm trying to make sure I pick the right tracks, basically. First live, cool. Yeah, I stream every Monday and Friday. I don't really have specific times that I stream. Maybe I should, but my schedule's just all over the place. But at least you know the days, Monday and Friday. Got someone from Canada. Dope. Sometimes getting flags, shrugs. I'm used to Twitch. Yeah, it's a different world on YouTube. Although people on Twitch have been feeling it recently with all the DMCAs that people have been getting on their clips. But yeah, Twitch won't like I've in the past, I don't know if they will still do this, but in the past I've had my streams literally get shut down in the middle of it because of a copyright violation. I think now they would just give you a content ID and then take the revenue for the most part. Like they won't like literally shut it down, but it's still pretty annoying, you know. But they're like actually DMCAing people on Twitch, which it's weird because for Twitch VODs or for like VODs of the streams, all they do is they silence the parts of the stream that have music in them or whatever. But for the clips, they're like just getting DMCA'd and getting strikes and stuff. It's really, really weird. It's basically Twitch. I think Twitch just kind of never really foresaw this, or at least they didn't take action to prevent it. Because like, honestly, the only reason that YouTube did it is because they were like getting sued and shit, and like they ran into so many issues with people like uploading copyrighted stuff. So they like literally like made a deal with all of these big companies and eventually made it so that pretty much anyone who owns content can just like sign up for content ID or whatever. I shouted out Canada, didn't I? Okay. I know Facebook will stop midstream. Yeah, I've never tried to stream on Facebook. Well, I guess we can get started. So literally, I'm just gonna like look up some stuff about these people. That's all I'm gonna do. And we can obviously talk about it, and we don't have to talk about the stuff that I am specifically Googling. But you know, whatever you want. I always kind of go with the flow of the chat. Also, did y'all check out my awesome transition? I don't know if it's awesome. I just kind of made it randomly last night, but I'll show you. Hold on, let me make sure it's right. I don't know, it might be too long, but I kind of like it. I like spent like an hour making it last night. All right, so now I have to move the mic. Yeah. All right, so I know that there's like certain sites. Make sure I'm in incognito mode so you guys don't see my weird search history. No, it's probably not that weird, but you never know what the hell I've been searching. So it's like, should I start with the, like, I feel like it's probably not that useful to look at their personal website. I mean, maybe you can. Joe Jorgensen, I assume. I don't think I've ever heard it said, but that's how I assume it's pronounced. Is the Libertarian nominee, or the presidential nominee for the Libertarian Party. This website though, I like the URL joe20.com. This ain't the best website though. Jorgensen Cohen. Issues. The Republicans and Democrats together, they've given us over $26 trillion in debt, $1 trillion deficits, plus trillions more in unfunded liabilities, non-stop involvement in expensive and deadly foreign war, skyrocketing healthcare costs, the highest imprisonment rate in the world, even higher among racial minorities and the poor, a broken retirement system, unable to pay promised benefits, tariffs that are destroying markets for American farmers. Interesting. So yeah, obviously libertarians, they just kind of generally just want the government to just kind of to GTFO in like almost every case. I thought her platform stances were trash wrapped in Ivy League prose. I guess my personal thing, and I've gotten criticism for this, but my personal thing is, or the way I go about it is, I just want to see what they say. I want to see what they say their positions are. And obviously you have to look at specific many different instances of them speaking about their positions, because sometimes people contradict themselves or sometimes people update their views. But I'm not really trying to read their minds or trying to figure out like what their hidden agenda is. Obviously sometimes you might say something that implies something else, and obviously we're smart enough that we can use context clues, but I'm not trying to read people's minds. I just want to know what people say. Let's see what she says about healthcare. Republican and Democrat policies over the past 50 years are the reason healthcare has become so expensive. Their latest proposal to fix healthcare will further micromanage your doctors and restrict your access to care, while failing to solve the underlying problem. They differ on whether this should be done by private insurance companies or government bureaucrats. We can reduce the cost of healthcare 75% by allowing real price competition and by substantially reducing government and insurance company paperwork. This will make healthcare affordable for most Americans while reducing the cost of legacy programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and the VA. Oh, so she doesn't even like want to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid. I would kind of expect a libertarian to just kind of want to gut those things, or if not get rid of them altogether. I have good news. I don't hate Amy Schumer anymore. In fact, I like her now. I haven't heard anything about Amy Schumer in a while. Has she been in the news or anything? It's weird to me. Like it says, this will make healthcare affordable for most Americans. Why are we not pushing towards making it affordable for all Americans? Like, do all Americans not deserve affordable, accessible healthcare? So I don't know. This is pretty vague. I made a whole video about how I think healthcare is like a human right, basically. So I kind of like fundamentally oppose market-based healthcare. But you know, it's kind of what you expect from the libertarian candidate. Jesus, this is like 2 sentences. Government spending, deficits, debt. As president, I will use my constitutional authority to block any new borrowing. I will veto any spending bill that will lead to a deficit and veto any debt ceiling increase. I will give every cabinet secretary a specific spending reduction target to meet and hold them accountable. There's simply no excuse for sticking our children and grandchildren with the bill for these bipartisan bloated budgets. So all this is pretty vague. Like, to some extent, it's like, yeah, you know, like the way that the current government sort of budgets things, there's obviously a lot of like just sort of like random shit they add to the budget just to please their lobbyists and stuff, and a lot of it I think might end up contributing to deficits and things of that nature. But also, it like, I'm okay with the government spending money if it like makes the country, you know, better. So, you know, environment, let's see that one. I will, and these sentences are in quotes. Does that mean that she has said them before, or is that just they're just being quoted on this website? I will work to remove government barriers to replacing coal burning and oil burning power plants in the United States with safe, non-polluting, high-tech nuclear power plants and allowing off-grid use of solar power. What does off-grid use mean? I don't think I know what that means. Worldwide, I believe we need to consider all scientific and economic knowledge to care for our environment, not cherry-pick data to support a predetermined outcome. Most pollution is generated in developing countries. Is that true? So reducing pollution worldwide requires cost-efficient, zero-emission energy sources like nuclear. Most pollution is generated in developing countries. Is that true? What does she mean by pollution? I mean, maybe it's true. Yeah, I guess because the companies, the big companies work in developing countries, so I guess so. We basically exported our environmental impact. Okay, I could see that. I didn't know that though. That's interesting. Okay. I mean, this seems okay. I don't know. I need to research more about nuclear power I've heard a lot of people like sing the praises of nuclear power, but I just don't really know that much about it. It seems like it's probably better than fucking burning coal and stuff. I think that's a misrepresentation of the US impact. Well, I think the idea is that, well, hold on, let me go back to that. US companies export, you know, their manufacturing. Reducing pollution worldwide requires cost-efficient, zero-emission energy sources like nuclear. I mean, that's just kind of a confusing sentence, I think. Like, why is it significant to point out that it's generated in developing countries? Nuclear has the least deaths per megawatt. Okay. It's hilarious that libertarians are pro-nuclear because nuclear power is crazy expensive and requires a giant amount of wasteful government spending. Yeah. Well, I guess that they would say that they're okay with spending in certain cases. I don't know. Developing countries will increase their carbon footprints while ours remain high. So, like, technically she's right. Nuclear is not much better due to the waste product. Yeah, that's always been my fear, but I just don't know enough about it. Solar and wind is far cheaper than nuclear or coal. Yeah. Have we like developed the technology such that solar and wind can like produce the same amount of energy? I'm not sure. Like, these are things I just need to research more. It's why withdrawing from the Paris Accord was so problematic. It was an agreement to reduce pollution among the top polluters. Yeah, so I guess is she just being like super semantic right now? Like, like the companies are owned by the US and other big countries, but the physical location of the pollution is developing countries. Government started environment, social security. In Texas, wind is huge and is replacing coal and natural gas. The wind and the sun are free. It's true. I mean, technically coal is free, but it's limited and it kills the earth. Let's try trade and immigration. The freedom to trade and travel are fundamental to human liberty. As American citizens, we should be free to travel anywhere we choose and to buy and sell anywhere in the world. As president, I will use my constitutional authority to eliminate trade barriers and tariffs and work to repeal arbitrary quotas on the number of people who can legally enter the United States to work, visit, or reside. Work to repeal arbitrary quotas on the number of people who can legally enter. I mean, is that like, I mean, I guess that's not technically saying she wants open borders, but it's definitely different from the Republican position on immigration. Yeah, when it comes to like immigration and stuff like that, it gets really complicated. Because I like the idea that people should just be free to travel anywhere they choose, but I also feel like a sovereign country should, you know, they should be able to have their own like rules about who they let in their country. seems contradictory, because how are they going to reduce spending and spend a bunch of money on nuclear energy and the implications that come with it? Interesting. Yeah, yes, like I said, nuclear energy is something that I'm sort of woefully ignorant about. I don't know much about how expensive it is. Fossil fuels require continuous extraction, and those lobbies won't stop. Something free market solves everything. Well, that seems to be the libertarian view on a lot of things, but I want to be charitable, and I don't want to be condescending. Sounds like they're trying to imply open borders. I'm not sure what the actual policy would be from that blurb. Yeah, these, I mean, I'll see if I can find more in-depth stuff, but these are kind of just like mini paragraphs on her website. Criminal justice reform. I am appalled that the United States ranks #1 in the world for having the highest percentage of people imprisoned. I'm also appalled that the federal government permits police to seize a person's assets without first convicting them of a crime, and then keep most of the assets seized. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. This is literally highway robbery. As president, I would use my constitutional authority to end federal civil asset forfeiture prior to conviction, and pardon persons convicted of non-violent victimless crimes. I will also work with Congress to end the failed war on drugs and other victimless crime laws. See, this is where I think libertarians, this is where they pull people in, because I think I agree with everything in this paragraph. This is why all these young white boys love the libertarians, because they're like, I just want to be able to smoke weed without going to jail. Did I do healthcare already? Oh yeah, I did. Poverty. From 1959 to 1969, the poverty rate was nearly cut in half, while government did little to address poverty. However, after the war on poverty was fully implemented in the early 70s, progress stopped. 50 years of federal anti-poverty programs, zero impact. Government anti-poverty programs don't work. The real cure for poverty is a vibrant economy that generates plentiful jobs and high wages, combined with an affordable cost of living. As president, I will work to eliminate policies that cripple economic growth. I will give special attention to regulations driving up the cost of housing and healthcare, as well as those creating barriers to creating new businesses or entering professions. Finally, I will work to repeal laws and regulations that prevent individuals and charitable organizations from helping those repeal laws and regulations that prevent individuals and charitable organizations from helping those in need. What does that mean? Are there laws that prevent individuals and charitable organizations from helping those in need? Yeah, I don't know if this is true. From the poverty rate was cut in half while the government did little. The government did nothing and poverty just magically was cut in half. I mean, possibly. I'm sure that this was not completely fabricated. There's probably something, I don't know if it's like completely contextualized. Laws like the minimum wage. Oh, okay. See, this is like so vague. I mean, I guess she's in a position where she doesn't she's not being asked questions as much as the major candidate, so she doesn't really have to be that detailed. But it's like, I don't know what you mean. And the implication of this is that since 1969 or since the 70s, the government has been doing all of this stuff to try to end poverty. And that doesn't seem to be the case from my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's referring to how bakeries can't just give day-old bagels to the homeless. Is it literally illegal to do that? I didn't even know. I just thought it was like a company policy for most. The tax rate back in the 1950s was like 90% for the top income bracket, but now it's like 30%. Yeah, it's like 35%, I think. There are people who've decoded JoJo and it's pretty trash. Well, it's just so vague. Like I said, obviously certain things imply other things, but it's like when you say something like, I will work to repeal laws and regulations that prevent individuals and charitable organizations from helping those in need. It's like, what laws? Like, we can guess, we can make inferences, but I don't think we can know for sure until, you know, maybe someone has asked her. I'm gonna try to find more stuff after this, but ooh, what do you think the libertarian candidate has to say about taxes? Which part is a common myth? In most states, there are laws explicitly allowing businesses to give stale food to the homeless. Oh. Totally overlooking SNAP, Medicaid, unemployment checks, public transportation, more public schools. I mean, I guess that is what she's referring to. She's saying that since those things exist and poverty still exists, and that means those things are bad and don't work. It doesn't seem like any of that is actually designed to end poverty, though. Taxes are never voluntary. They are always paid under threat of punishment. If you fail to pay what the government says you owe, you can be fined, have your wages garnished, assets seized, even go to prison. Voting for more government spending inevitably leads to higher taxes to pay for it, now or in the future. As president, I will work tirelessly to slash federal spending, make government much, much smaller, and let you keep what you earn. Yeah, that's pretty standard. Yeah, they just have sort of like this idea that taxes are bad, and just that's sort of like the presupposed conclusion that taxes are bad. So anything that results in higher taxes is also bad. Clinton era thing that removed liability if you donated the food with a reasonable expectation it wasn't going to kill someone, basically. Oh, wait, the federal bill, Emerson Good Samaritan and Food Donation Agonizing, made it easier to donate food, no liability in summary. So obviously I'm okay with taxes as if they're being used for something that I like, or that seems to make the country better. The Department of Education has failed. In the 40 years since the Department of Education was created, government spending on education has skyrocketed, while the quality of education has declined. Students used to be able to work their way through college and graduate debt-free. As president, I will work to eliminate the Department of Education and return control of education to where it belongs, with parents, teachers, and students. Again, I don't know exactly what she's proposing here. Like, is she proposing getting rid of public education altogether? It's a tendency to make these ideological leaps of faith, disregarding current power structures. Shasta Lightfoot, thank you for the $10. Shasta's like the only person that uses the super stickers. Yeah, what does that mean? Libertarians get really funny about what taxes are justifiable, a justifiable burden of a society. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I need to explain this. That's kind of always been my problem with libertarians, is that they have a lot of these ideas, but it's like I've never really had them explained to me. And I'm sure like someone would love to do that, but it's just never been, I've never been in a position to have that explained to me. Do these proposals make sense to you? Most of them, I have no idea what they mean. Would you like to help make them part of the 2020 I mean, I would love to see her be part of the debate, because I want her to explain what the fuck she's talking about. All right, let's see what else there is. I love the stickers, but I need a better selection. I agree. Apparently they're working on adding more stuff to YouTube live streaming. Like, the YouTube live system is just very like bare bones. It's almost like an afterthought. But they just released a video on their Creator Insider channel where they're talking about new stuff that they're doing with live. So hopefully they can add more stuff, because I've been enjoying live streaming, but when you compare it to like Twitch as a live streaming platform, it's just not even close. Twitch just has way more stuff. And there's no reason that fucking Google can't make a good live platform. Let's see what she's been tweeting. Libertarian candidate for president of the United States. Hockey player. I didn't know that. That's cool. Wait, where's she from? She's a trash candidate who happens to be libertarian. Some libertarians like sales taxes, like Andrew Yang had as a way to pay for UBI. Let parents, teachers, and students figure it out. Shrugs. Vermin Supreme. Yeah, we can look him up if you want later. Removing user captions for videos, adding user captions for live stream. So a lot of people, I think, are confused about this. I don't know if this is what you are saying, but a lot of people think that they're getting rid of captions, which I don't think is what they're doing. They're getting rid of community contributed captions, which I don't, obviously, honestly, I don't think they should do, because it really helps a lot. But they're not getting rid of captions altogether. And a lot of people think that they're just getting rid of captions. It's like, I don't think that's what they're doing. But I don't know if you all know this, but you can submit captions to YouTubers that have that enabled. So you can just help out if you feel like it. You can be like, oh, I'm gonna help them caption this video, or I'm gonna help them translate this video to another language, which to me is like the biggest benefit. Obviously it's a lot of work to do that, so I never expect anyone to do that. But it's cool when people do, and people have done it every now and then. Like, a few of my videos have been translated into German or Portuguese, which is cool because I don't know those languages. Eventually I might get to the point where I just like pay somebody to translate my videos to certain languages. But when people like donate their time to do it, that's amazing. But apparently they're disabling that. They say that nobody uses it, which doesn't seem true. But YouTube always does this thing where they've done it for so many things where they pretty much plan to get rid of something, and instead of just saying, hey, we want to get rid of this, they blame it on the community. They say, well, the community never uses it, so we're going to get rid of it. Like annotations, I don't know if you remember videos, you used to be able to put annotations on videos where you used to be able to put like a thing on the screen that someone could click on. Well, YouTube did this thing where they basically hid where to do that, like in your like YouTube dashboard. They made it just like really like vague, and they did not encourage people to use it anymore, so people kind of stopped using it. And then they were like, well, people don't use this anymore, so we're gonna get rid of it. It's like, okay, cool. Same thing with video responses. I don't know if any of y'all are old school YouTubers, old school YouTube users, but there used to be a thing called video responses where you could click a video and underneath you could say video response, and you can make a video, and then it would be listed as a video response under the video that you responded to. And again, they sort of like hid it and didn't encourage people to use it, and they were like, oh, we're getting rid of video responses. Now today that would probably be a bad idea because YouTube is blown up so much. So it would be like PewDiePie, and he would have like 40,000 video responses under it. So that I could see eventually that would probably need to be phased out. But at the time they did it, I thought it was a good thing that they shouldn't have gotten rid of. Okay, she's from South Carolina. Okay. So I'm guessing her tweets are probably just more of that same vague stuff. Big G, anti-poverty programs don't work. The real cure for poverty is a vibrant economy that generates plentiful jobs. I think this is literally verbatim the same thing that's on her website. I'm super down for letting them debate though. Not that the debates are very like informative or useful, but I just want to hear what they have to say. Hold on, I meant to check if she had anything on her website about like Black Lives Matter or anything like that. Because I don't think I saw anything. This website, I mean, I'm not like a web design expert. You can see my website. It's not like amazing or anything, but it's not a great website. Well, if you want some Joe 20 merch, I do like Joe 20. That's, to me, that has a nice ring to it. This website looks like it was made with Dreamscape. You remember Dreamscape? Is that what it was called? Dreamscape? Dreams, it was something like that. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot the name of the program. It was something like that. Dreamweaver, yeah, that's right. Oh, it's owned by Adobe now. I didn't even know that. I used to use Dreamweaver back in like 2001. She's a libertarian, so all people are featureless, colorless spheres to her. It's not like failed states with practically no government are doing great poverty-wise. What's up, wool lady? Okay, so it looks like there's, hold on. So maybe I should read some of these articles. I don't really feel like it though, but It might offer some more insight. Libertarian Jorgensen accuses Biden Trump of racial injustice. Okay. Wait, is that it? Okay, that's the last page. I'm doing pretty good. Just kind of looking over these people. Take a look at us in Lebanon. Our capital literally blew up because of lack of regulation. Oh, did they figure out why that happened? I didn't like catch up on it. I was reading the news when it actually happened. That shit was nuts, dude. But yeah, I mean, we have so many cases of obvious of like disasters pretty much that are due directly to lack of regulation and lack of oversight. Like when BP spilled all that oil in the ocean. That's literally because of lack of safety regulations and lack of safety oversight. The fucking 2008 financial crisis, lack of regulation, lack of oversight. If Joe Biden aims to heal racial wounds in this country, he needs to immediately call for ending the racist policies he put in place, starting with the war on drugs. I mean, not that Joe Biden started the war on drugs, but she's not completely wrong on that one. By the way, if y'all see something that you want me to pull up, let me know. Or if you can't see it, I can make it bigger. You see his whole thing on the Breakfast Club? Talking about Joe Biden? Yeah. Wait, was that the thing where he said you ain't black if you don't vote for me? It's pretty cringy. Really, pretty much every time Joe Biden talks, I cringe. The man, first of all, the man is at the point where he can't put sentences together. Like, there obviously a lot of people talk about how we might have dementia or something, and I'm not going to, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to diagnose the man with anything, but I do know that the man has trouble putting sentences together, and he didn't always have that trouble. Obviously he's getting old, but when he does put sentences together, they're often super cringy, and it's like, why did you say that, dude? So I don't even know what to think about that. But it's pretty sad, because when you think about that, the other option is Trump. It's like, well, this is not ideal. Biden has always had a problem with trying to be edgy. Yeah, I guess. But the thing is, he's popular. I don't get Americans at all. Okay, President Bush proposed escalation of the drug prohibition didn't go far enough, according to then Senator Biden, who said that it doesn't include enough police officers to catch violent thugs. Yeah, so Biden was definitely one of the sort of hardline, sort of law and order Democrats in the 90s. See, the third party candidates, the main thing that they have going for them is that the Democrats and Republicans are both such disasters that they can just be like, hey, look at these disasters. look, this doesn't work, and we have proof that neither of these parties are competent at anything. And so it's like they don't even have to, like, she has a whole website of nothing. All she has to say is, look, they've failed. What did Biden say yesterday? It's not only that the Democrats choose these I mean, maybe that's a big part of it, but it's not only that people vote for these candidates. Joe Biden, like, handedly, like, very convincingly won the Democratic primary. Like, it seemed like it was going to be close, and then it ended up just being not close. Is Biden really popular? From the outside, we really thought he was your politics creating a safe bet to ensure not Trump for the next presidential term. I mean, I guess, but it seems weird to me that Joe Biden is the person that people think is the most likely to defeat Trump in the first place. I don't really get that argument either. The only thing I can imagine, or at least one of the major things, has to be his connection to Obama. And I'm very interested in seeing who Biden will pick as his vice president. Because I halfway expect Biden, even if he wins, I halfway expect him to get in there and then just do more like middle ground Obama shit. Because I don't know, like, a lot of people seem to hate Biden, but I think Biden is slightly more progressive than Obama and Hillary, at least in terms of what he's said. But if he actually becomes president, is he actually gonna, like, do anything progressive? I don't know. Okay, I thought that this article might have anything, but it's just more sort of like vague stuff. But I mean, she has a point about Joe Biden talking about healing racial wounds when, you know, he was just part of that sort of establishment that helped create this problem. So I was the earliest, I guess this is, I was just trying to go back to see if there was anything on this website about like Black Lives Matter or the movement that's going on right now, and there doesn't seem to be really anything here, which is interesting. It seems like that you would comment on it, right? Hold on, I'm gonna see if she's tweeted about it. Okay, how do you do? It's like Black Lives Matter. Let's see if she's. By the way, if you don't know how to use Twitter Advanced Search, this is a good way to search if someone has said something or has mentioned something. Ooh, last night I attended the Black Lives Matter candlelight vigil to honor victims of police brutality. I did not speak, for they are not my stories to tell. Now is the time to listen, to remember and honor these victims. Okay, I see you, Joe. So yeah, you type a search term and then type from : no space and then their username, so you can see if they've mentioned a certain thing. And there's other things you can do too, like you can search the date range and stuff. Also you can just go to, I think you can literally go to Twitter advanced search. Yeah, and you can just do it this way, but that's an easier way to do it. It's funny. I mean, there's one tweet, so that's something. But I just want to confirm that she's not like an all lives matter person. What's something else? All right, so she, you know, she has aligned herself with the majority position that Black Lives Matter, so that's good. She's not like, because I think that I think, or at least I would imagine that a lot of libertarians might fall on this sort of like it's not a race issue type of thing. So but I mean, you know, I don't think you get points for like stating the obvious, but I feel like I just wanted to see if she was an all lives matter person, basically. But she seems very clearly that she's not. So that's good. Okay. Have we? Yeah, I mean, the bar is low in this country. It's very low. Have we looked at where she stands on economics? We looked at some of her issues. I feel like most of her economic issues are pretty typical libertarian type stuff. Let's see if we can the gig economy. Let's watch this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jo Jorgensen, Libertarian candidate for president. Right now, we're moving towards a gig economy. With our technology, people can work much more flexible hours, they can do what they want, and they can work a wide variety of jobs. But once again, government comes in, restricts choices, and tells people how they have to work. It's a very natural situation to have people who want to hire people and people who want to work get together and make their own decisions on how they work out their situation. What happens is government sticks its nose into everybody's business, and rather than allowing people to choose their work situation, government comes in and says, nope, we know better than you. And usually, as I said earlier, government hurts those it intends to help. Join my team.
Yeah, it's being picked up in the microphone. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that yet. Well, the only way that I know how to fix that is to put headphones on, but I don't really feel like doing that. But you know, I guess if you say it's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. It's like typical libertarian stuff. It's like the reason that it's like government is bad. I don't know. It's hard to really like react to it. Like the way that my mind would be changed on that is I would need like some kind of reasonable argument. That sort of like convinces me. You don't just like say it. You don't just say government is bad. When government involves himself in the labor market, it's bad. Or I would need some kind of data that shows that that's wrong, and libertarians rarely provide that. By the way, they're like working on my apartments outside. Like they're like painting and doing construction and stuff. So if you like hear stuff, that's what's happening. Let's see what Ballotpedia has to say. Virtual libertarian primary debate. So these are just rewritten, the stuff on her rewritten, it seems like, yeah, from her website, rewritten. Campaign website says the U.S. should not build a wall along the southern border or separate children from adults who illegally attempted to cross the border. Jorgensen supports deporting illegal immigrants who commit serious crimes. She opposes local law enforcement detaining illegal immigrants and transferring them to federal immigration authorities unless the crime involves a victim and is serious. No background noise getting picked up. You're good. Okay, cool. The gig economy is not for everyone, and economically will result in a bigger poverty population. Yeah, I mean, there's been so many sort of exposés and articles written about the problems with the gig economy. I think their argument is that when government gets out of the market, then the market is more free and self-regulates. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I need to know the reasons why they think that, rather than it's almost like this like religious dogma that they just believe that that's true without ever proving it or even making a real argument for it. I mean, maybe it's a moral argument, but it doesn't sound like a moral argument. It sounds like it's supposed to be like a pragmatic economic argument. Their argument is not about the actual effects of their ideology. It's more, I should be free to do whatever I want, and if poor people die, it's not up to me to fix it. Yeah, yeah, I don't think they would word it that way, but that often that seems to be the implication. They believe that if you remove all regulations on businesses, more freedom, then the businesses will regulate themselves because it's in their own best interest. Well, I just feel like we have so much evidence that that's not true, you know? They have a big fixation on personal responsibility. Yeah, and I mean, listen, I'm down with personal responsibility. However, when we live in a society that has a profit motive, I don't think we can rely on people to self-regulate. They also say that it's good for the economy and stuff to attract voters, but the core of their argument is individualistic. It's based on that one economist who's now said he was wrong. That good old Ayn Rand. Oh, Friedman. Yeah, I didn't know that he sort of recanted his previous views. I recently interviewed Angela Walker. I don't know if you covered her yet, but she came from Socialist Party USA and ushered in a Red-Green Alliance for the Greens. No, I haven't covered her yet. We're gonna look at Howie Hawkins in a second, and then maybe we can look at Angela Walker as well. Well, he said that markets didn't work the way he always said they did. Yeah, I mean, there's like very simple examples. Like, we literally had to make laws so that companies wouldn't put lead in children's toys, you know? Like, if corporations were so good at self-regulating, why would we ever have to do that? How bad was the echo? Was it really bad? I kind of want to see this. Or some of it, at least. Maybe if I turn it down, it won't echo as much.
Be deeply principled with a long-term commitment to our party. Be able to communicate libertarian ideas in a way that non-libertarians not only will understand.
I think there's a way to make it the volume low on my speakers, but still pretty high on the stream, but I can't remember how to do it.
But will flock to our party. I am that candidate. I ask you for your vote for the Libertarian nomination for president. Thank you.
Joe Jorgensen, thank you. Next, John Mons, a stay-at-home dad and homeschool teacher in Georgia.
Absolutely. I'm John Mons, and
I've never heard of John Mons.
Nominee for President of the United States. I'm a native of Detroit, Michigan, and I finished high school down in Gonzales, Florida.
Oh, it's your boy.
Using the moniker Vermin Supreme for over 30 years. It's granted, I did use my original campaign was a spoof. Now this doesn't count as my opening remarks, does it? This was a question.
Fine.
I'm a little
It does not. Just answer the question, then you get your opening remarks.
Thank you. Yes, of course, my name is Vermin Supreme. I'm a friendly fascist tyrant that you can trust, and you should let me run your life. I do know what is best for you. That was indeed the satirical take that gave the context to my name, but using this name has allowed me to develop a character and a universe of iconography.
I mean, I need to like watch this whole thing, but
that's what I'm bringing to the LP. That is indeed part of my offer. I will.
Better world in this country rather than trying to make this dysfunctional system work more efficiently.
All right, so I want to focus on Joe, see what she's saying.
Done anything right. I just want to mention that we've had an assault on our liberty that we haven't seen in our lifetime, both in our personal freedom, being able to leave the house, and also with the economy. So the first thing President Trump should have done is, let me back up a bit. The FDA right now, as since 1962, has to prove, companies have to prove efficacy and safety. Before 1962, they only had to show safety, that their drugs were safe. So what happened was we had about 60 American companies that were making testing kits, and the FDA only approved 2 of them. So what the president should have done was had an Emergency Powers Act and said, okay, for the FDA, you only have to prove safety, you don't have to prove efficacy. We need to get these kits out there.
and anybody with a kit could just sell it?
Well, first of all, we need the free market to weed out who's good and who's bad.
I can't remember. I can't just. I didn't hear the question.
Put out on the market were typically gone within a few months because they didn't work and people saw through it right away. If you are a large,
what do you think of Mark Zuckerberg saying that the government and these big tech companies should work together to regulate these type of companies? I mean, overall, I think that's fine. The problem is that the companies are always going to work for their own best interest. So, there needs to be sort of like a step-by-step process. We need to vote good people into government in the first place. And once we do that, then those people can work towards the best interest of the people that they represent. But if we don't have good people in government, and I think that's one of the arguments of libertarians is the government, part of the reason that the government has been so inefficient is because the people who actually are there don't really give a shit, and they are beholden to all these lobbyists and stuff, and we have to change all of that. And one of the major steps that we do to change that is to like stop voting for dipshits. Yeah, they're talking about COVID.
You don't want to put out either a test.
Can y'all hear it though? It's kind of low on my end.
You'll go bankrupt, and that's what should happen. If you don't give people the best quality, the best quantity.
I shouldn't say dipshits. That was mean.
Now, I admit, right now we have a problem with the federal bailouts in that somebody could put out a testing kit that didn't work. But if I were president, I would let the company go in under. If you put out a drug or a testing kit that doesn't work, you don't deserve to be in business.
I'm just trying to make it so that it doesn't echo as much, but maybe it's still echoing.
At what point would you say that a contagion is so threatening to other people that authorities should order people to stay home?
John, first of all, I really appreciate your questions and your follow-up questions, and good for you. Look, we've done it wrong from the outset. Yes, the federal government failed to plan.
I didn't even know that there were all these candidates for the...
And they are going to protect themselves. I'm going to do everything I can to keep you healthy, including take away tens of millions of jobs, to take away hundreds of thousands of businesses, get government out of...
I would give them their money back that they put in. It's an Congress to help.
Please respond to that.
Of government. Now, on climate change, my belief.
Well, let's hold off since.
Well, I want to see.
The answer short shrift and immediately move to charity. Vermin Supreme asked her the same question on a previous debate.
I think it's maybe better to have the volume up with the echo.
And she said, I refuse to answer that question. It's my understanding throughout this campaign.
Well, she said courts and police and
but she supports more than that. She supports the welfare state through Social Security and Medicare. She's never called for the dismantling of the national security state, the massive military industrial
She did say on her website that she was not
obviously does not feel
she did not want to get rid of Medicare
what
and Medicaid.
Should be the ideal form of government. Now, on climate change, my belief.
Well, let's hold off since we'll come back to climate change.
Okay.
Joe,
y'all just let me know. I can't hear the stream.
Which of the many like accusations?
You want to keep Social Security and the welfare state?
My plan for Social Security is to have an immediate opt-out on day one. Now, of course, you need Congress to help, but if I had a magic wand, on the first day in office, nobody would ever put another dime into Social Security again. But here's the problem. We've got 12 million people who are dependent solely on Social Security, and I agree with you, will agree with your question, what about the people who don't have kids?
Is John Stossel a libertarian?
What I would do is, we all know that their Social Security was not put into the lockbox that we were promised. It was spent on government assets and other things with the government. So what I would do is I would sell those government assets, things like mineral rights, water rights, buildings downtown, and I would take that money and I would fund the people who are in the 50s, 60s, 70s who were forced, literally at the point of a gun, to put their money into the inefficient Ponzi scheme put up by the government, and I would give them their money back that they put in. You know,
what about the national security state? Do you support that as he accuses you of?
Well, again, police, courts, and military, absolutely, I'm for military. Do I think that we need some type of intelligence
See, they're
within the
okay
military?
with taxes for the
Absolutely.
military.
Absolutely, we need
Or she
somebody
is, at least.
going to other countries and looking around. I don't want to just have one of our submarines blasted out of the water without us knowing it. If we had good intelligence, we would find out about the virus ahead of time, about Wuhan. But the thing is the CIA is, you know, with all the black ops and all the assassinations.
So does the loser get kicked out of the party? It's like Survivor.
And I thought I was pretty clear
They
when
have
I
like
said
a
I want the intelligence function of the CIA to be
tribunal.
rolled into the military. I don't want the CIA itself. It is way past.
Hopefully,
you know,
the Libertarian Party doesn't
can't be
copyright strike me.
rehabilitated. But I don't understand how you can have a country and a military
But
without
it's
some kind
fair
of
use, right?
intelligence.
And Jacob, what about that?
Well, what we're talking about is a massive military industrial complex.
So I think literally Jacob Hornberger is purity testing her, basically. He's no true Scotsmaning her. It's like, are you a real libertarian? And that's probably why she won the nomination, is because she's probably like the as practical as you can be as a libertarian. John Stossel is always appearing on Libertarian YouTube channel. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to look up about Joe Jorgensen? I might switch over to Howie Hawkins for now. We can jump back to Joe later. But to me, it just, you know, libertarians are really hard to analyze because it's like the same shit, and it's like it's hard to like go anywhere with it. It's like government bad, taxes bad, you know. It's like I don't know what to say about it. I mean, we did learn some things. Like, it's interesting that she apparently is not wanting to get rid of Medicare. She's not an All Lives Matter person, so that's good. Are libertarian, to see what the libertarian base thinks. Okay. There's another tip if you didn't know. You can go to Reddit. You can go to Reddit. Wait, you can go to libertarian.reddit.com and it'll redirect you to r/. So you can do that with any it's like, it's really not faster, but I don't know. If you don't want to type slashes, like typing slashes is kind of awkward for me, so let's see what they say about Joe. Wait, how do I search the how do I search the okay. Get Joe Jorgensen on the Joe Rogan show. I'd like to see that. Let her speak. Aims. Well, I mean, they seem to be in favor overall. Joe Jorgensen praises company for firing an employee. Wait. Oh, praises company for firing an employee for posting All Lives Matter on the employee's private Facebook page. And I'd like to mention one thing that a lot of people don't realize. This will give you an example. I mean, maybe I've misrepresented libertarians, but I didn't expect libertarians to be super into like racial movements. So it's like actually surprising to me that she seems to be like all in for Black Lives Matter. Do I like Joe Rogan? I think Joe Rogan is fine. I think he's said many things that I don't agree with, but the show's good. I think that Joe Rogan is one of those people that a lot of people on the left sort of only know through snippets and clips and haven't really sort of interacted with his content in long form. And so a lot of people on the left like develop these negative opinions about Joe Rogan. Like people talk about him like he's some kind of right-wing neo-Nazi or something, but I don't know. He's got some weird views on things for sure, but I'm not this guy that needs to agree 100% with everybody that I watch. Libertarians aren't pro-black, they're anti-cops. That's kind of what I gathered, but from studying Jo Jorgensen, she seems to actually be she's saying the right things about Black Lives Matter, at least. See, I don't think that's true at all. People say that Joe Rogan doesn't push back against right-wing people, and I just feel like that doesn't represent, like, as someone who has seen a lot of Joe Rogan, I just don't think that's true at all. Like, in fact, most of the most like dramatic tensions that he's had on his show has been with right-wing people. Like when he like gets into arguments with people, it's almost always with right-wing people when they say something stupid. Now, you may say that he shouldn't have these right-wing people on in the first place, and that's an opinion that people are free to have. But people say that about him is just not true. I think you can make the argument that Joe Rogan brings on more reactionary and right-wing people than left-wing people. He does have some left-wing, like he's not as bad as like Dave Rubin. But I think that's a fair criticism. But the idea that he doesn't push back when they say something absurd, that's just not true. I mean, if you look like when he had Milo on, he fucking went in on Milo. Even he just had Ben Shapiro on. He literally made a fool out of Ben Shapiro over the like the NFL players kneeling controversy. When he had Dave Rubin on, he made a fool out of him. So I don't think that particular thing is true. There are obviously fair criticisms. Like I think it's fair to say that he has more right-wing people on, because I think that he likes to have controversial people on. I'm interested to see what the libertarian community. Yeah, so apparently this is not the general libertarian view, because they're kind of making fun of her for saying it. Okay, we can look at Howie Hawkins, and again, if we can come back to Joe later. So I guess we'll start out with his website like we did for Joe. Well, yeah, the top comment was like, surely this will go over well. They weren't like making fun of her, but it was like a sarcastic comment. Hold on. I'll show it. So she tweeted, "It's not enough to be passively not racist. We must be actively anti-racist, hashtag Black Lives Matter. And then someone put, surely this would go over well amongst libertarians, ... Like many things, it's going to have a mixed response. But they're kind of saying it's bad for her to do this. I feel like that touching on very hot and controversial topics is a political mistake. No matter what she says, she's likely to piss off about 1/3 or 1/2. But then someone said, whether you agree with it or not, the party has an uncomfortable history of being associated with racists, which is kind of what I've kind of thought about Libertarian Party. So yeah, that's what I was referring to. All right, Howie Hawkins, Green Party candidate, H2O. I don't like it as much as Joe 20 or Joe. Is it Joe 2O? I hope it's Joe 20. That sounds better. To be fair, I think there's a divide in the libertarian community where some really hate Trump and some love him. Yeah, I feel like Trump has become more and more unpopular over time, so it's probably the safer bet to be anti-Trump for any party that's not the Republican Party. Okay. Let's see. Issues. Let's try that. Platform summary. I will say his website looks better than Joe's. COVID-19. Emergency measures for the duration of the crisis. Howie is a snack. We can all agree on that. I mean, I like that white beard. Medicare to pay for COVID-19 testing and treatment and all emergency health care. Defense Production Act to rapidly plan the production and distribution of medical supplies and universal test. $2,000 a month to all adults over age 16 and $500 per child. I wonder, well, because they're talking about releasing another stimulus, right? God, is there another Bitcoin scam up on the front page of YouTube? Yo, they've been hacking big YouTubers. They have like some kind of, wait, I can't do it on here. They've got like some kind of sophisticated hacking, like they're like bypassing people's two-factor authentication and everything. They've got like some kind of sophisticated hacking project going on where they're hacking big YouTubers and putting a Bitcoin scam on it. He's saying $2,000 a month. I think he means for the duration of COVID, but I mean, I'm not sure what his plan is after that. Loans to all businesses and hospitals. So he's basically, he wants to expand what the government is doing already, because the government, obviously they already gave out one stimulus. They're talking about doing another stimulus which they say might roll out at the end of this month or next month. And they have, the government also, I don't know how much you guys know about this whole thing, but the government does give out loans and grants to businesses. You've probably seen this. It's kind of problematic because huge companies that don't need loans are also accepting these loans. In fact, in many cases, the huge companies are getting loans that small companies aren't. But they are offering loans and grants to businesses. In fact, even though I'm a individual sole proprietor, I actually received a grant, a COVID grant. So that exists. So he wants to expand that basically. Moratorium on evictions, foreclosures, cancel rent, mortgage, and utility payments. Federal government pays those bills. High income people pay taxes on this relief. Yo, Howie is not fucking around. Suspend student loan payments with 0 interest accumulation. So yeah, this is, I mean, overall, this stuff looks cool to me. Like, this is kind of how, first of all, we shouldn't live in a society where something like this pandemic completely just ruins everyone's lives because we weren't prepared for it, because we don't have things in place to take care of people after they like lose their jobs and all this stuff. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you would look for the government to do. I feel like this is kind of the purpose of government. Yeah, this particular thing I'm reading is his platform for COVID emergency measures. Eco-socialist Green New Deal. So is he a socialist? I didn't know that. Public ownership and planning in energy, manufacturing, and transportation. 0 to negative carbon emissions, 100% clean. No nukes. How do you get rid of the nukes? Heat pumps to heat and cool buildings, parity pricing. He has a social justice section, which Joe didn't have. I think they might have given a lot of money to big companies at the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah, I think it's just these big companies were just taking advantage of the free money that the government was giving out. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that money was kind of designed to be given to them, because that seems how everything works in this country. Pledge no first use of nuclear weapons. Did we not already do that? Probably not. Unilaterally disarm to a minimum credible deterrent. Negotiate with nuclear powers to enact the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. End the endless wars. U.S. troops home. Cut the military budget by 75%. I love that. 75%. Invest the savings in a global Green New Deal. Use diplomacy and international law to promote peace, human rights, and democracy. Okay, I mean, it's also pretty vague, but like this is very specific. Cut the military budget by 75%. So there are a couple of more specific things, but Trump pulled out of it. Eco-socialist is just descriptive and not prescriptive. Yeah, I just saw that he talked about public ownership and planning and energy, manufacturing, and transportation. So I was wondering if he was actually a socialist. I know Elon Musk put a lot of his workers at risk in order to get some government money at the end of the quarter. I'm very anti-nuclear, but denuclearization needs to happen simultaneously on a global scale. You can't get rid of nukes and let Russia and China have theirs. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the problem with nukes is it's, you know, it's like a game of chicken, basically. And I don't know how we're going to like convince Russia and China to get rid of their nukes. Economic Bill of Rights. So this is something that I think that the Green Party has kind of always talked about this, but definitely like some of the more progressive candidates, even in the Democratic Party, have mentioned something like this. Oh, Electric Lomain became a homie. I appreciate that. I thought you already were one. I guess you're a patron. Yeah, appreciate that. Awesome. By the way, we hit our goal of 50 homies, so that means that I will be doing a cooking stream soon, probably next week. And you can see we have a new incentive when we hit 100 homies. This is something I've always wanted to do. I want to cosplay Bishop specifically Bishop from X-Men Days of Future Past. But it's a pretty like intense cosplay. and it's probably expensive if I wanted to like actually look cool. So I thought I'd make a donation incentive. I think people might think that was cool. But yeah, we are doing a cooking stream soon. I still have to figure out the logistics of how that works, but I am planning to do that. There's an eco-socialist group in the Green Party that's about worker ownership. Howie includes that kind of thing in his public program ideas. Okay. He's on the Socialist Party ticket. Ronald Reagan had a chance to make a deal with Russia to denuclearize, but he didn't, so I think it's possible. Yeah, we got to see the cosplay. I'll show you what the character looks like. If you've ever seen X-Men Days of Future Past, the movie. See, the problem is there's not a lot. There's not, wait, I can just do it in this window. There's not a lot of great cosplay for black dudes. And there's even less great cosplay for black dudes with dreadlocks.
Thanks for all the new content.
Electro Main, thank you for the 444. Yeah, this is it. So when I find a cosplay that I can actually pull off, I'm like super excited to do it. But like he's got like, you know, these heavy duty knee pads and belts and shit and this big cape. I probably need to change this overlay because the or I should move the chat maybe. Let's move the chat over here, because the alerts are popping up over the chat. I could also do the comic. This is the comic book version of Bishop. I could also do that, but I want to do the movie version, even though he didn't have a big role in the movie. This is what he looks like in the comics. More, but I feel like I don't have the body for this. Like, I'm just gonna look dumpy if I wear something like that. Or maybe by the time I get 100 homies, I could have done some push-ups or something. Electric Domain, thank you for the 5. The donation trifecta or hat trick. What were Bishop's powers? He could absorb energy, right? Any other powers? That's pretty much it. He could absorb energy and redistribute it like into his gun or out of his hands and shit. All right, back to Howie Hawkins. But yeah, I think I'll do the movie version. So the Economic Bill of Rights, job guarantee, guaranteed minimum income above poverty. See, this is one way that you could tackle poverty. Like, there's various ways you could do it. You could do UBI, where you just give people money. You could do the thing that I have historically supported, which is just making basic necessities free. Or you could do job guarantees and make sure that those jobs have living wages. So there's different ways you could think about it. $20 minimum wage. I feel like $20 minimum wage is too low. Like $20. What's 20? Like 20. If you work full time, 20. That's $800 a week before taxes, which is what, like, that's like $40,000 or something, right? Yeah, it has to be higher than that for sure. Like 40,000 is decent for one person, but like once you get into trying to build a family, trying to save, try to plan, make big plans in your life, that's just not enough money. So yeah, obviously that's a big step up from what we have, but $20 is too low. Affordable housing for all through universal rent control and public housing. So this, maybe this is the offset. So if you make things like housing and healthcare either cheap or free, then maybe you don't need to be paid as much when in your job. So maybe that's the argument. Medicare for all, lifelong free, like education as well, lifelong free public education, pre-K through college, secure retirement, double secure social security benefits. But almost anything is better than we have now. Yeah, I agree. They thought 600 a week was low. Now are arguing that we need less. Yeah. I do like the idea of an economic bill of rights though. By the way, is this too small? Should I make it bigger? I'll just go ahead and make it bigger. There's no reason not to. I like the idea of an economic bill of rights because the problem with making laws and like, because in general what I advocate for is just changing the law. Make the law sorry I can't see the chat on the screen because this is white. I guess I need to add shadows to it. I'll do that next time. But anyway, changing the law is cool until, you know, the next Congress comes in or the next president comes in and they change it back. So I like the idea of having a Bill of Rights. Literally, like, I mean, you could even put that shit in the Constitution. You can make like a specific amendment that just has all this shit in it. And it doesn't have to be like a specific number. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. But it should be like a standard living wage if you're going to do it this way. What's your view on voting for Biden? Do you prefer a third party or are you figuring out that right now through stream? That's part of why I'm doing this. My view is that you should vote for the person that you like the best. I don't have an issue with people that believe they should vote strategically. Also, I live in Alabama, where I mean, there's less pressure on me to not vote for Trump because Trump is going to win Alabama 100%. If there's any state that Trump is going to win, it's Alabama. Literally, like, not even exaggeration, literally Trump has the highest approval rating in Alabama out of all of the states. So for me, I think it's a little less pressing, but that's kind of part of why I'm looking through this stuff. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. It's insane that people literally starve in the richest country the world has ever seen. Absolutely. We need 33 states to ratify amendments, though. Something like that. I don't even remember, to be honest. How to ratify an amendment. Three-fourths, so 2/3 of the House and Senate approve of it, then 3/4 of the states must affirm, if this website is correct. So yeah, it takes a lot, but you know, in order for any of this stuff to happen, our whole mindset as a country has to change. Like, that's the only way that we're gonna really get any of this stuff here. Anything similar to that. Like, a lot of this stuff is not going to be like, some of this stuff you can change the law, but you have to get this through Congress. You have to get the support of the population, and then you have to make it so that it just doesn't get overturned the next time someone becomes president, or next time someone wins the House or Senate. So in order for any of this stuff to happen and stick, we have to change our whole mindset. And I think the mindset is changing, but it's changing too slowly. That's the problem. From Tennessee, from North Carolina. Yeah. And that's kind of the problem with the electoral college, is like, as much as people don't want to admit it, like, it's hard to believe that your vote matters that much in most states, honestly. I still think you should vote, though. First of all, you never know what can happen. Like, I live in Alabama, very red state, but we have a Democratic senator right now. Now, to be fair, it required that his opponent be a actual pedophile, but it was still close. That's the thing. It was literally still close. But if people didn't show up to vote, if people were like, oh, it's Alabama, fucking Roy Moore's going to win anyway, so I might as well stay at home. If people would have had that attitude, then the pedophile would have won. So you definitely should still vote. And even if you don't win, I think it's still important just to let people know that you exist. Like, if the Republican wins, and I made a video about this, but it's like, if, for example, the Republican wins in Alabama, but 40% of Alabama votes for Joe Biden, I think that you can't ignore that. That's the way I see it. They have to be like, oh, there's 40% of the people here didn't want Trump, and those people are going to be loud, and they're going to fuck up our shit while we're in office. Have you heard of the Natural Popular Vote Interstate Compact? Yeah. Well, isn't that the thing where they're basically just trying to get states to agree to basically acknowledge the popular vote and vote, like, not actually change the law, but just agree to go along with the popular vote? And yeah, the fight, even if Biden wins, the fight's not over. But yeah, but basically, if you like Howie Hawkins and you vote for Howie Hawkins because you think he's the best, me personally, I'm not going to be mad at you. That's all I'm saying. Other people might be mad at you, and you can deal with that. Like, I've went on record as being a Jill Stein supporter in 2016, so obviously I have no issues with that. But obviously, also a lot of people did not like that. It's interesting because back in the day, obviously it was a different time. It was 4 years ago. But back then, I got so much shit from people like, well, you should have voted for Hillary. Now we have Trump. But now people are like, fuck Joe Biden. people don't even care as much. All right. Socialist economy, worker cooperatives, public ownership of big banks and industries. I never thought about public ownership of banks. That's an interesting idea. Public monetary authority, democratic economic planning, production for use within ecological limits. Production for use. Oh, within, okay. I mean, I feel like these are all things that could be tried. I don't know that much about this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, worker co-ops kind of already exist, but I don't know to what extent he's like proposing these things. We already live in a hell world. Nothing matters. I mean, I hope that's kind of a joke. I understand the sentiment, but we can't give up. We still got to live in this world. Yeah, it's a silent agreement to accept the popular vote. Political discrimination, ranked choice, natural popular vote. Yeah, it's just the stuff that makes sense. See, but this is the issue, is the Green Party often puts forth these reasonable people, but then the party itself often has like a bunch of weird shit. But I'm going through this to see if I find any weird shit, because every now and then there's some weird shit like fucking alternative medicine or just like fucking weird shit like that, but I don't see anything like that. Because I'm not sure, like there's certain things that I'm not that familiar with, or that is not particularly the way that I do it, but there's nothing that's like super offensive to me so far. Ranked choice, natural popular vote. Obviously, it's just like, I think that it's just something that makes sense, that we kind of all understand is better than what we have. Automatic voter registration, voting rights for felons. End corporate personhood, and money is speech, obviously. DC statehood, that seems fine. Howie's an old union guy, not a crunchy granola guy. Does this mention statehood for other territories besides DC? Not so far. That might be interesting to look up. Let me just see if he's mentioned it. I mean, like Puerto Rico and stuff like that. Also, where is he from? I forgot where he's from. New York? Oh, he's a co-founder of the Green Party. I didn't know that. Yeah, he's from New York. Okay. Let me see if anyone, well, let me see that. I'll just type Puerto Rico because that's often the one that people bring up. I think We should be demanding an immediate waiver of the Jones Act. So it looks like this guy actually answers questions. I mean, this might be interesting to read in full, but I'm just specifically looking if he mentioned statehood. The status of Puerto Rico is for the Puerto Rican people to decide. The president should not interfere in self-determination by the people of any country. What the president should do is encourage a fair process of Puerto Ricans to determine their status that is accepted by our parties. I mean, I guess that's fair. I wonder, has anyone else mentioned that? You think Joe Jorgensen has mentioned that? Libertarians decide to become a joke in 2020. Wait, I want to see that. Angela Walker mentioned Puerto Rico autonomy. Okay. Which subreddit? Oh, this is Libertarian Party USA. It looks like the Libertarians are down for it, or at least these guys. Well, nothing immediately coming up. Maybe we'll stumble upon it. Well, you can't put Vermin Supreme and then just say it's a joke. Jorgensen and Cohen have the misfortune of carrying the libertarian banner in a year when a global pandemic has made Americans a bit more socialistic. All right, that's a long article. I'm not going to read that right now. Okay. Social justice. Enforce anti-discrimination laws, obviously. Restore affirmative action to provide equal opportunities. Did affirmative action get repealed? Defend proportional equality. So this is like basic vague stuff. Reparations for African American. So they open borders like within the European Union. So he like very overtly wants open borders, while Joe Jorgensen was like very iffy about it, or like not iffy but like vague about it. It seemed like she wanted open borders, but she didn't say it outright. I think that libertarians know that they need Republicans to vote for them, so they try to avoid saying outright things that they know Republicans don't like. Are you a fan of Vosh on YouTube? I just found out about him. I don't know that much about Vosh, but people mention him a lot in my stream, so I decided to like watch a couple of his videos. And I mean, I think that it's not like my cup of tea, but it's very interesting what he's doing. And one thing that I will say about him is he's better at being convincing than most leftists on YouTube. He like his content is clearly designed, well, some of his content I think is designed to convince people who don't already agree with him. I do think that he does a lot of sort of preaching to the choir type of content, which is a lot of political content on YouTube, which I'm not super into, especially if I'm not already a part of your audience, because I'm not the choir. But it does seem like he's trying to appeal to a certain group of people that don't agree with him already. I'm not that group of people. Like he's clearly trying to appeal to like these edgy sort of fucking like, I don't know, like this I think just like edgy white dudes that, you know, may not be all the way convinced about socialism or social justice, but I'm not that audience, so I don't know. But I've seen a couple of his debates, and he is maybe the only leftist on YouTube that I've seen that's actually good at debate, which is pretty big, because although I think debates are kind of weird and they don't, you know, they're often a shit show, I do think that debate is a useful strategy for spreading a message. The problem is people on the left are usually bad at it, in my experience at least. So I don't know, that's just my initial impressions of Vosh. Electra Lomain, thank you for the $5. Do you think schools should reopen? T1J, do you think people will even take the COVID vaccine even if it's available? Do you think schools should reopen? No. Like the pandemic still exists. It didn't go away. Like, it's weird how in America we just kind of just decide that the pandemic isn't a thing anymore. It's still there. So we should continue to behave as if it's still there. And the government has already shown that when it boils down to it, they can spend, you know, the money to take care of people that need it, but they're just being real weird about it because, you know, I don't know, because the government, it's just because we just set up, we have attached so much value to working in this country that we don't know what to do when we can't go to work. Now, to be fair, I think a lot of parents use school as free daycare, but no, we shouldn't be putting a bunch of kids in a building together during a pandemic, obviously. I think people will take the vaccine. I think the anti-vaxxers are loud, but I don't think that they're anywhere near the majority. I think most people understand that vaccines are useful. Just the one. Sorry, I'm getting that reparation. Just the one. Open borders, I think, could be potentially what fixes the negative parts of our culture. Really glad to see this. I'm a 15-year-old Gen Z, and I can almost guarantee we'll vote towards a more socialist candidate every time. Yeah, the younger generation definitely seems to be a lot more left-leaning. But the issue here is, because we thought that all the new 18-year-olds were going to show up and vote Bernie or whatever, but we still got Biden. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of the younger crowd, they're more left-leaning, but they're also more pessimistic and apathetic. They kind of just believe that we're doomed. So like, a lot of them, I think, they just say, fuck it, I'm not gonna vote, who gives a shit, we're gonna die anyway. Like, I feel like millennials like me, and like maybe even Gen X or the Zennials, like I like Zennial more for me, like in between millennial and Gen X. But I think we were brought up with this sort of optimism. It's like, we can change the world. Each and every one of you can be successful, and you can change the world individually. And even though we've learned that that's not actually true, we still kind of have this like small optimism. It's like, if we just do the right thing, we can fix everything. We just have to make sure we do it correctly. Meanwhile, the Gen Zers are like, fuck it, we're all gonna die. Let's just party until this shit burns down. Many on the left tend towards appeals to emotions in debate, while though on the right tends towards oversimplification in debate, favors the latter. I agree 100%. I think appeals to emotion can work, but it just depends on the audience. Like I think left wing like content creators and speakers, they're really good at riling up their own base, but they're really bad at being convincing to other people, because they talk to people as if they should already agree with them. They often feel like they seem like flabbergasted that they have to even argue for their points, and I get that. Like, it's like, to me, it's weird that people think it's okay for there to be both billionaires and homeless people in the same country. Like, it doesn't seem like you should have to argue why that's bad, but you do. So you need to figure out how to do that. Yeah, Gen X is before millennials, so that's people like 1970 something to 1982, something like that. My millennial self was almost apolitical until Bernie. I mean, to be honest, I kind of was as well. I wasn't apolitical, but I was apathetic about, like, I thought voting was pointless, things of that nature. I know so many young people who are nihilistic, and while they have every right to, it's negatively affecting them. Yeah, we need the young people to vote. Y'all young people in here, by the way, I feel like I've been getting a lot more teenage viewers lately. I feel like that didn't used to be the case. I need to check my analytics. Like, my audience has always been sort of like early to late 20s. Like 60% of people, I think, were like, 22 to 34 or something. But I feel like I've been getting a lot more like teenagers. But anyway, we need y'all to vote. Please vote when you turn 18. Growing up with Obama, the yes we can guy, seeing him cave on anything and committing war crimes really shattered our illusions about change. I agree 100%. What type of music do I listen to? Well, technically the music that I listen to is like shit that I grew up listening to, like early 2000s hip hop and shit that was on MTV when I was in high school. That's kind of what I listen to. I don't really keep up with new music. See, that's the issue though, Wool Lady, is that people, if you want the world to be better, you have to convince people. But that's what I think is some people have just given up. They just assume that the world will never be better, so they don't bother. Who's the GOAT rapper? Andre 3000 for sure. Not even close. All right, criminal civil justice. Let's look more of this. Monitor and prosecute white racist terrorists. I love it. Federal investigations of local policeman misconduct. All right, so I'm definitely going to have to find like more specific stuff. End mass incarceration, legalize marijuana, decriminalize personal possession of hard drugs, drug treatment on demand, decriminalize sex work. That's interesting. Like, it's literally like his platform is just kind of like this is like the standard progressive platform of 2020. Media democracy, antitrust action against media conglomerates and social media platforms. Socialize social media and e-commerce monopolies. See, I would love to hear more about that. I have to see if I can find something. Diversify private media ownership. Fund independent community-based public media. End social security tax cap on high incomes and fossil fuel subsidies. Cut corporate welfare, financial transaction tax, progressive wealth tax, progressive estate tax, more progressive personal and business income taxes, land value tax. Stark contrast with the libertarians, obviously. Let's see if there's more specific things. Cut corporate welfare, not end it. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't think Bernie wanted to legalize sex work. Did he talk about that? I think they'll be voting and probably mad that they can't vote, but they can stop Trump rallies to be heard. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is vague. I would love to see more details. All right, so his website has some, it looks like some in-depth stuff. Green buildings and housing for all. I don't know where these numbers come from, but maybe there's some sources. So he's got like total jobs, total cost. Only thing I don't like is land value tax. Stick to income/gains. Germany legalized sex work. I wonder how it works there. Yeah, I don't know that much about that. Trumbo hates TikTok. Low, the 14-year-old's definitely voting for you. You killed TikTok. That's hilarious. Job guarantee total jobs 5 million. Seems like you would need more than 5 million, right? Oh, I guess that's the new jobs that'll be created, but it seems like you would still need more. I like that they're not shying away from how much it costs, because I think Democrats do that a lot, where they're like, yeah, we want to do all this stuff, and then they're asked, well, how much does it cost? How are you going to pay for it? Well, you know, but they're like, yeah, it's going to cost fucking trillions of dollars, and we're just going to tax the shit out of people so we can pay for it. No big deal. So yeah, okay. Cuts to corporate welfare. See, I don't know if these numbers are correct at all, and I'm sure that Republicans, I'm sure the Fox News people would say that all these numbers are like inflated or whatever. Am I familiar with Vosh's stance on the First Amendment? I'm not familiar. Can you tell me? Oh, he believes in censoring people's speech if that speech silences other, but not in terms of government. Under our current system, a third party will never win. I agree with that. So yeah, the whole First Amendment thing is pretty complex. So I think I would need like more specific examples, because I'm generally a pretty big free speech person. But free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. It doesn't mean freedom from response. It doesn't mean freedom from criticism. It doesn't mean you're free to a platform. It doesn't mean you have a right to a platform. So it kind of depends on what you mean by silencing people. Like, for example, I have a YouTube channel. It's mine. But that doesn't mean that just because someone else has something to say, that doesn't mean that if I say, no, you can't come on my YouTube channel and say that, that doesn't mean that I'm censoring them or that I'm silencing them. And it's the same thing for larger organizations. Like if you're like a university and you say, no, we're not going to let this dude come speak at our university, that doesn't mean they're silencing them or censoring them. It means that they have domain over their own platform and they can use it however they want. So when it comes to hate speech, the problem with hate speech is it could get to a point where anybody could just cry hate speech at anything. So we have to be very specific about what qualifies as hate speech. People in the 60s thought that the stuff that Martin Luther King Jr. was saying was hate speech. So we have to be very careful we can't just assume that everyone agrees on what the definition of hate speech is. Because if we say it's okay to censor hate speech, then people on the other side are going to say, well, what you're saying is hate speech, so we're going to censor you too. Especially depending on who has the power in the situation. So he claims that basically the revenue from his tax plan will essentially just pay for the Green New Deal. And I think that's what a lot of people who support this sort of thing would say. But obviously, I mean, there are certain types of speech that are very, very clearly and directly harmful. So, for example, speech that incites violence. And so, for example, if you write something on any platform where you say, yo, I think it's okay to cause harm to this group of people, then I think very clearly that's harmful speech. And I don't think anyone would have a problem, or I wouldn't have a problem with any platform banning that kind of speech, or any group of people attempting to suppress that kind of speech. But the problem is when people, I don't know, it's just like people always take things too far, and that's what I'm always worried about. I shouldn't assume that people will take it too far, but people tend to take things too far. So like, you know, someone might say something that's shitty, but it directly cause violence. But it's all pretty complicated, and it's something that I don't know if I really 100% really know where I stand on every single part of it. Ultimately, I feel like the best way to do it is for owners of platforms is just to be in charge of how they use their platforms, and to because I mean the issue is in a free society, people are going to be allowed to be shitty, and that's just something that you have to come to terms with. And I think that sometimes people conflate being shitty with being violent or being harmful. Well, it depends on the situation. I don't know. I think it's okay because most people are going to attempt to skirt any kind of hate speech law. They're going to speak up until the point until where they're actually specifically calling for violence against people's groups. So it probably depends on the situation. But it in many cases, like for example, if someone with a very large platform, like most extreme example, if Donald Trump says, you know what, I think it's so, and he's said shit like this before, so it's not even hypothetical, but like if he says, I don't have a problem with people going out and, you know, shooting people from this group, to me that is effectively, it may not be the same thing as saying that people should do that, but it will have the same result as saying that. So we should treat it as if it's the same thing as saying that. And I feel like the same thing applies if you're like a YouTuber of my size that has, you know, 200,000 subscribers, and you say something like that. I feel like there is going to be some non-zero number of people who will see that as tacit permission to go do it. And obviously people can misinterpret things that you didn't mean, but to some extent we have to put the context clues together. But it probably does depend on the situation. So like Howie Hawkins, at least on his issues page, I don't think there was anything that was offensive to me. Not offensive, but nothing that was just like made me like roll my eyes. And it looks like he has a lot of information on his website, which is pretty good. But yeah, I was gonna say, by the way, I'm trying not to use specific examples because fucking YouTube algorithm might pull that phrase out of the whole, out of context, and like strike me for it. Like that's happened before. So I'm trying not to use very specific examples. But I think you guys get the idea. On a related topic, how do you feel about the way that YouTube handled the situation with Carlos Maza? I've talked about this before. Hold on. So basically, for those that don't know, Carlos Maza is a guy who works for Vox and makes videos for Vox. He complained to YouTube because Steven Crowder, who was a conservative like YouTuber slash, I don't know, radio host slash comedian, made a bunch of stuff about Carlos Maza, and a lot of it was homophobic and racist in nature. Like literally, like he used slurs. He did something with, didn't he like do something where he like dressed up like a Mexican or something? Like he had like a stereotypical like Mexican costume or something. I can't remember what happened, but a lot of it was basically racist and homophobic. He was making fun of the fact that he was gay and Latino. And YouTube decided not to punish Steven Crowder for this. I made a video about it, or I mentioned it in a video, and YouTube's well, we can look at my video. Hold on. YouTube's rationale for not punishing him was the purpose of the video was not to be racist or not for hate speech. The main purpose of the video was to argue against his political views. Let me see if I can. I explained it better in my video because I actually had a script. Now I'm going off the cuff, but I'll talk about it. Let me see, which video is it in? I think it was in the social media video. I don't know how many of y'all. Yeah, the hate speech was incidental. That was essentially their argument. This video. So hold on, I'll play my video about it, or the part of my video. Is this it? It's in here somewhere. I'm trying to find the. There it is. Hold on. Fox's YouTube channel of clearing it up on their support pages. The problem is they either don't consistently enforce their own rules, or they might just have bad rules. On the page describing YouTube's response when those purge or ban Alex Jones, they've actually done a fairly decent job of clearing it up on their support pages. The problem is they either don't consistently enforce their rules. Many individuals and outlets provided examples of what appeared to be clear breaches of Twitter's conduct policy, but it wasn't until a month later when Twitter would have. So I talk about Alex Jones and then related accounts for continuing to do what he'd been doing the whole time. YouTube has historically been known for its unclear community guidelines, especially with regard to their hate speech and harassment policy. But recently, they've actually done a fairly decent job of clearing it up on their support pages. Hopefully it's not too annoying. The problem is they either don't consistently enforce their own rules, or they might just have bad rules. On the page describing YouTube's hate speech policy, there's a list of examples of, quote, hate speech not allowed on YouTube. I actually sad laughed a bit while reading this because I've seen almost all of these said nearly verbatim on YouTube, largely by people who haven't been punished. Earlier this year, Carlos Maza, a writer and host for Vox's YouTube channel, complained on Twitter about targeted harassment and hate speech he'd been receiving from Steven Crowder, a conservative YouTube commentator. You can look up the details yourself, but Crowder's comments, I think, unquestionably fit YouTube's own definitions of harassment and hate speech as written by them. However, YouTube decided not to take any action against Steven Crowder for those comments. Their main rationale seemed to be that while bigoted harassment is normally against the rules, it's okay as long as it's couched within a political opinion. And you can make an argument that this is actually... I want to see that. Hold on. It says... This is, they put this on their blog. As an open platform, we sometimes host opinions and views that many, ourselves included, may find offensive. These could include edgy stand-up comedy routines, a chart-topping song, or charged political rant. Short moments from these videos spliced together paint a troubling picture, but individually they don't always cross the line. This is a direct, reference to the Carlos Maza situation. They're being very vague, but it's a direct reference because Carlos Maza, as proof of Crowder's harassment to him, he made like a montage of times that Steven Crowder has been racist and homophobic. So they're like directly referencing that. Couched within a political opinion. And you can make an argument that this is actually reflected in the community guidelines. It says, don't post content on YouTube if the purpose of that content is to encourage violence or incite hatred against specific groups. Don't use slurs where the primary purpose is to promote hatred. This seems to imply that it's okay to use bigoted slurs against someone as long as promoting hatred is not the primary purpose of the content. And that's true of Crowder. Arguably, his primary purpose ostensibly was to debate a political opinion. He just threw some racism and homophobia in there as the icing on the cake. Now again, YouTube is free to make their rules however they like. But if the goal is to curb harassment and hate speech, this is a really poorly conceived exception to the policy. And to be honest, it really explains how so much absolutely vile political content, far worse than Steven Crowder, to be honest, has been allowed to remain on YouTube. Yeah, there's so much worse than
bigotry delivered as part of a political
there's so much worse stuff
does
than
not
Steven Crowder
cease
on
to be
YouTube.
harassment and bigotry. What a bad rule. So if our goal is to make...
All right, so this was September 28th, 2019 when I made this video. But YouTube has updated their rules. Let me see if I can find it. Violence, hate speech. So you remember I showed screenshots of the rules. It's different now. They took out that the purpose. It's not there anymore. So they basically admitted that was bad. They didn't like publicly admit that was a bad rule, but they changed it. I think they might specifically, hold on. They might have specifically referenced the changes. Anyway, the whole thing about the purpose thing, it's not there anymore. Yeah, so Steven Crowder, yes, basically, yeah, I mean, it's been explained, but Steven Crowder is this conservative dude on YouTube. He's the actual worst. He's like, there are people who, there are conservatives and there are like right-wing people who I just kind of disagree with. I don't understand their views, but I kind of believe that they are sincere. But this guy, I believe he is an intentionally bad faith person. He's not great. So he has made a bunch of videos about this guy, Carlos Maza, who works for Vox, or at least he did at the time. And he made, the videos were designed to disagree with his views, but in the videos, he incidentally made fun of the fact that he was Latino and made fun of the fact that he was gay. And in fact, he used slurs while doing that. I think he used both racist and homophobic slurs. And Carlos complained to YouTube, saying, yo, isn't like fucking racist name calling and slurs, isn't that against the rules of YouTube? And YouTube was like, nah. Basically, they were like, well, since it wasn't the main purpose of the video, like he didn't make a video say, hey, Latino people are bad. That wasn't the purpose of the video, so it's fine. But as I was saying, they have changed the rules. That's not the rules anymore. So they're basically like retroactively saying that they were wrong about that. Anyway, Crowder's followers were also going to all of Vox's videos spewing hate speech in the comments. Yeah, of course. I always feel weird about this stuff. I don't understand why people can't just choose to be kind. But then can't Carlos just not watch it? Well, I think Carlos's views, which is what someone said, yeah, his viewers. So this is what happens on YouTube. I mean, maybe people are not familiar. There was a huge problem with this in 2013, 2014. The age of the response video. People still do response videos. But here's what happens. Hold on. So, for example, it's happened to me a bunch of times. I'm trying to think of an example. So let me see. I made a video. Can words hurt you? 3 years ago. Okay, I hit the dislike bar. Hold on. Anyway, so this video got a bunch of dislikes. I hide the dislike bar all of my videos. You might know that. You may not have noticed that, but I hide the likes and dislikes. But this video got a bunch of dislikes, and it's not like a super controversial video. It's just a video sort of analyzing the impact of words on people. Well, so it's like, why did this video get so many dislikes? Well, it's because another YouTuber. I'll see if it's still up. Is he even still a thing? Do y'all remember Bearing? He's not. Okay, he's still here. Do y'all remember this dude? Okay, I guess the video's not up. Anyway, this dude Bearing, I don't know what he does now. It seems like he's still making fun of. He's like, it seems like he still makes fun of like SJWs or the SJWs or whatever. Yeah, this is what he basically used to. This is the kind of stuff he used to make. Anyway, he made a response video to me because I implied that words can be hurtful. Literally, non-controversial statement. And his audience came over to my channel and just spam dislike. And then his audience came and just put a bunch of shit, a bunch of shitty comments. This video caused me a lot of emotional harm. You should take it down. T1J making bogus and unsubstantiated claims. So it's just, you know, I don't see anything too bad. I think the YouTube filter kind of filtered out the worst stuff, but obviously this is not my audience, right? So this is what happens. someone else with a large audience, they make a video about you. You have no interaction with that person. I never watched Bering's videos. So yeah, I knew that he made videos like he did. So I was like, I don't want to watch that, so I don't watch it. However, I still have to deal with this shit. And I know that it's coming from him. So that's what happened to Cause Mazza. Steven Crowder's audience bombards his content. They reply to his Twitter. They do all that kind of shit. So he can't ignore it. He literally can't ignore it. Literally all of the comments are negative. Now obviously they're not super bad. I do think that there were some worse ones, but YouTube's comment filter catches a lot of like the really bad stuff. I should show y'all just the comment filter. There's like thousands of comments that get locked in there. But I do think I don't get it as bad as other people, because I think that the people that these trolls that they like to target, first of all, they love to target women. That's like, I think that's their like number one favorite target. And then number two, they like to target LGBTQ people. Those are like their two favorite targets. So I don't think I get it as bad as other people. But still, that's why that happens. And it's happened before, like, hold on. I don't know. But people make response videos about me all the time. Not all the time, but they used to. If you like scroll past all my videos, you can get to the ones that people have made about me. See if I can find them. Wait, I know how to find them. There's a way to like filter. Yeah, you can filter like certain channels, I think. Video. I forgot how to do it. Never mind. Wait, let me see if I can figure it out. There's a site that will do it for you. Like you can search for yourself, but filter out your own videos, but I forgot how to do it. Do. Yeah, I don't remember how to do it. But maybe I can like, hold on. Whatever. Anyway. Or like the one janitor response or something like that. Why is this? The search results page is so weird. But I know that, like, for example, I know Armin Skepta did one. I don't know. Maybe he took it down. and like Skeptor. I think that one's still up. I looked at that one recently. T1J strikes again. Wage gap straw man. This dude used to make a bunch of videos about me. Oh, here's a couple. Nightmare Fuel responding to the one janitor. Remember all these guys? They had like they had these like cartoons. All right, sorry. Anyway, I actually don't use YouTube light mode, but I'm on I'm using incognito mode, so it doesn't have my settings. Was streaming during Gamergate, yeah. Rant Sonas never went away. Okay. I guess I just don't watch it anymore. I wanted to see if there's anything else about Howie Hawkins that might be interesting. Cause like, for example, the Green Party can be weird sometimes. So it looks like he is just straight up a socialist. Like, in the Green Party, like, into alternative medicine? Or is that like old? See, yeah, the official, wait, is this the official site? Hold on. There's a Reddit thread. And this is the US Green Party apparently. So apparently different Green Parties have different position. But like a lot of times the candidates that they choose don't necessarily represent the main views, or they sort of represent their own views and not the views of the party. Greens support a wide range of healthcare services, not just traditional medicine, which too often emphasizes a medical arms race. Chronic conditions are often best cured by alternative medicine. Alternative therapies such as herbal medicines, homeopathy, how you pronounce it? Homeopathy, naturopathy, and traditional Chinese medicine. See, this is the type of shit. This is where they lose me. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? This is from 2016. This is the Green Party website, gp.org, right? Homeopathy, yeah. Not homeopathy. Yeah, I figured it was, but I couldn't get it together in my head. So let me see if he said anything. Green parties here have the same problem. Yeah. Now it's like, I mean, that's bad. But is it as bad as some of the other parties' positions? Come on. I guess he hasn't commented on it. Oh, this is a meme. Oh, this is Basically a meme about how progressives should be joining the Green Party. What? Oh. Jill, actual Russian agent Stein's party. Maybe, let me see if he's commented on anti-vax. Should the government require children to be vaccinated for preventable diseases? Yes, they are essential to protecting other children who are too young to be vaccinated. Wait. This says Howie Hawkins voter base. This candidate has not responded. Well, shit. I want to know what he said. Nothing. Because as a guy, you got to read what it says. These are not his. These are the voter base. I don't know if he has responded to any of this stuff. Come on, Howie. Wait, let's take the quiz. See, I don't know. Do you support the use of nuclear energy? I was saying earlier that I don't know enough about it. Can I say I don't know? Let's do that one. We should invest in cleaner alternatives. Yeah, let's do that one. Should the government require children to be vaccinated for preventable diseases? Should the government require children to be vaccinated for preventable disease? Probably, yeah. I mean, there's a level of, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you just can't be getting other people sick just because you're weird. I like the alliteration to his name. Well, what about Joe Jorgensen? The response videos are so cringe. Most of them aren't trying to engage in good faith. They're just clickbait. I agree. I hate them. Like there are, like for example, Sean, the channel Sean, great channel. Sean does a lot of response videos. And while I still think the format is flawed, Sean at least goes very in depth with his stuff. It's not just ad hominem and clickbait. He will like bring out the graphs and shit on you. So it can be done in a more reasonable way, but overall, I don't like the idea of response videos. Is it Jorgensen, not Jorgensen? I actually don't know. I was wondering about that. It could be Jorgensen. It looks like it could be Jorgensen, right? The more I learn about nuclear energy, the more I think we should be in favor of it. Yeah, so yeah, nuclear energy, I'm not sure. Like there are some people that have been like really in favor of it, but I'm not sure. Should producers be required to label genetically engineered foods? I don't think they should be required to, because it kind of doesn't matter, but maybe they should just because people care about it. But I don't think they should be required to. Do I support the patient protection? Are we still asking about this? Do I support it? I mean, I support it better than what preceded it, but a mandatory single payer system would be even better. I guess that, yeah. Should the federal government increase funding of healthcare for low income individuals? No, and eligibility should only include. Just go with that. Yes. Should convicted criminals have the right to vote? Yes. Do you support mandatory minimum sentences for people charged? No. Should nonviolent prisoners be released from jail in order to reduce overcrowding? Should nonviolent prisoners be released from jail? Jorgensen is against mandatory vaccination. I mean, people might have different views on that. That's not necessarily a common sense issue. To me, it just seems like we're dealing with a public health thing. So it's beyond it. This is where freedom and justice clashes, and where justice, I think, overrides freedom. Yeah, you should be free to make your own choices, but when your choices directly affect public health, I think that's when your freedom is overridden by the public good. That's kind of the idea. That's like my initial idea of that. No. I mean, that kind of makes sense though. Should nonviolent prisoners be released from jail in order to reduce overcrowding? Okay. So this seems like it could be a nuanced answer. Like the idea of prison, like these quizzes, they're fun, but they're just too oversimplified. Because it's like maybe, but also we just need to reform the entire prison system, which would make a lot of these questions like irrelevant. But yeah, I'm like Ibrahim, I'm thinking about crimes that are non-violent but are still pretty heinous, and perhaps people should still be in prison for them. Like, for example, I don't know, like fucking Ponzi schemes and shit, or like causing a global crisis because you were selling people shitty mortgages, you know. I'm just gonna say no for now, because this is not what needs. This is, hold on. I'm just gonna say no. It's much more nuanced than that, because this is not reducing overcrowding. Would be stop arresting people for dumb shit. Sometimes the dumb shit is, sometimes the non-violent prisoners shouldn't be in jail, but sometimes they should. Like, you know, stop over policing black neighborhoods and putting black people in jail, but still put, you know, corporate executives that are embezzling money out of communities and shit, like still put them in jail, you know. I don't know. Should electoral college be abolished? Yes. Should a photo ID be required to vote? No. Should foreigners currently residing in the United States have the right to vote? Foreigners currently residing in the United States, sure. Yeah, they live here, right? Do you support increasing taxes for the rich in order to reduce interest rates for student loans? We should just abolish student loans. Every student. No, we should still reduce interest rates. No one transition all government student loans. Reduce. I'll just do this one. I don't want to do like the submitted users, because probably none of those were actually submitted by the candidates. Start putting bank execs in jail. I think we should abolish the prison system entirely. Yeah, for foreigners currently residing in, the idea that I'm thinking of is either like extended or permanent residents who aren't citizens. That's kind of what I was thinking of. But it could just be people that are just chilling here like temporarily. I don't know. But like, for example, my mom is a permanent resident of the United States, but she's not a citizen, and she can't vote. I don't think she wants to vote, but I think she should be able to, because the shit that happens here affects her. Should the federal government pay for tuition at four-year colleges and universities? I mean, sure. Why not? Yeah, why not? I mean, I think there can be private universities, but I don't think that people should go into massive debt just to get an education. Should the federal government fund universal preschool? I don't know. I don't really know anything about that. It seems like it could be a good idea, but I don't know. Oh, you're supposed to put how important it is to you. So let me go back and set the importance. I'm going to do the ones that I don't know about least. I'll do somewhat for that. I'll do more. Don't care. Let's do most. Should the government increase funding of healthcare? Most. Should nonviolent prisoners? Yeah, that one is weird, so I'm just put less. I agree with that. Definitely. I'll just leave that somewhat. I don't get this one. This one, I don't know. It's like maybe. I kind of feel like if you live there for 10 plus years. Yeah, I feel like if the laws and the actions of the people that get voted in affect your life in a meaningful way, you should have a say in that. I don't know. That seems weird. Seems right to me. I don't know. But I would love to hear the arguments for why not. Should the federal, I don't know. I'm going to say yes, that seems good, but I would need to do more research. Should the government increase spending on public transportation? Probably. Public transportation is especially in the cities that have good public transportation, it becomes pretty much a necessity. I live in a city that has very poor public transportation, and it's a hassle for the people that live here. So I think that would be good, actually. Should the government continue to fund Planned Parenthood? Probably, yeah. This is like the same answer. What's your stance on abortion? Pro-choice. I like this one. Providing birth control, sex ed, and more social services will help reduce the number of abortions. Should gender identity be added to anti-discrimination laws? Yes, of course. I like the ones that add a little more nuance to it, because this is the same thing as yes, but it's like, and should the U.S. raise taxes on the rich? Yeah, one way or another, for sure. Yes, and raise taxes on all income brackets. I kind of agree with that, but I'm not sure. Maybe not poor people, but the idea is that we get rid of poor people. But I won't. I mean, I think we're all gonna have to pay more taxes if we want some of these like services to be enacted. But I mean, not like fucking people that don't have any money, obviously. So should the government raise the federal minimum wage? Yes, and make it a living wage. Yes, and adjust it every year. Let's do that one. I feel like there's better ways to tackle poverty, but if this is probably something that could be done the fastest, is just raising the minimum wage. And in fact, has been and is being done in specific cities in the United States. But I feel like ultimately we're gonna have to do more than that. Didn't the Supreme Court just rule this way about gender identity? Yeah. Well, what was this? What was the what was the specifics of that? Yeah, they made it so that you can't. Oh God, I don't want to read that. Yeah, they made it so you can't be fired because of your gender identity. Yeah. Yeah, okay, no, yeah, that's basically what they did. The Civil Rights Act, they basically ruled that the Civil Rights Act applies to your sexuality and your gender identity. So yeah, cool. Should U.S. raise or lower the tax rate for corporations? See, obviously raise, but it's more complicated than just raising the tax rate. Keep current rates, but eliminate deductions and loopholes. Increase for large multinational, but lower for small business. I mean, maybe that one. I feel like small businesses have to pay a bunch of taxes. But the thing is, corporations, it's not that their tax rates are too low. They probably are, but that's not the issue. Is that they have so many ways to not have to pay taxes. Like it's like the loopholes. I don't know if it's like the loophole specifically, but the tax code is sort of set up that they can just dodge taxes regardless of what the actual tax rate is. Yeah, I think the Supreme Court only ruled on this one act. It doesn't it's not every single act of discrimination. It's simply workplace discrimination. So obviously there's more that needs to be done, but this is a big step. But I'm just gonna say raise, because taxing, or yeah, fuck it, I'll just say this one. I'm not sure, I need to look more into that, but I feel like small businesses pay a bunch of taxes that large corporations don't end up paying, because one of the reasons that corporations don't pay taxes is because they spend so much money and they can just kind of write it off. So they get to dodge a lot of taxes because large corporations, they kind of always spend all their money every year, or like they spend all their profits every year, so they can just write it off on taxes and they don't have to like pay any taxes. I don't think small businesses can do that, but I might be wrong about that. Should the U.S. build a wall along the southern border? Nah, dog. This would be too costly and ineffective. It's, can I just say no? It's dumb. It's this stupid idea. Should illegal immigrants have access to government subsidized health care? I mean, yeah, they're people. I don't know. Like, are we saying if there's an illegal immigrant that gets sick, like if there's an illegal immigrant in America and they get sick and they go to the hospital, should we treat them for free? Yeah, because they're people. You take care of people when they're sick. I don't know. Like my healthcare argument is a moral argument. Like maybe there's some kind of economic argument that that makes this impractical. But to me, it just seems unconscionable for us to put people in debt because of healthcare. It just seems just extremely immoral. Should illegal immigrants be offered in-state tuition rates at public colleges within their residing states? I mean, I don't know. See, like, this is another question where it's like, if we fix the problem to begin with, then this is not even an issue anymore. If we make it so that people don't have to be illegal immigrants because our fucking immigration and citizenship policies are so convoluted and just out of control that people don't even bother trying to do it, then we wouldn't even have this issue. But I mean, we could probably figure out a way to do that. Yeah, and then there's the issue of tuition in the first place. Like, we shouldn't even be like, and that's something too, like in-state tuition. Why is it cheaper? I mean, maybe there's a reason why it's cheaper in-state, but like, I mean, just let everybody get an education. I'm just going to put yes. I don't know. Should there be more restrictions on the current process of purchasing a gun? Yeah. Yes, and ban all guns from public use. That would be my like idealistic position, but that's just something that's never going to happen in this country. But I think guns are dumb. Well, I don't know, like there are probably like very minor instances in which gun ownership is can be justified, but overall I think guns are just bad for the world and no one should have them. In-state tuition is cheaper because state taxes subsidize tuition. But I agree, abolish it. Should teachers be allowed to carry guns at school? No, man. Jesus Christ. Of course it would. How many questions are there? I thought this was going to be short. Should victims of gun violence be allowed to sue firearms dealers and manufacturers? Should victims of gun violence be allowed to sue firearms dealers? I don't know about that. That seems a bit much. Like if someone, like I don't think that seems a bit much. Like I don't know. Like obviously I don't like guns. But to me, that's like saying you should be able to sue the fried chicken company if you get heart disease from eating too much fried chicken. Like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know. Maybe people think you should be able to. Okay, there's a bunch. There's a. Maybe we can finish it out. I'm just gonna put no. I'm going to try to do it quickly. Should the president be able to authorize military force against Al-Qaeda without congressional approval? Oh my God. It's just they're all complex. I don't know. Should the president be able to authorize military force against Al-Qaeda? Probably not, man. These are probably things that require more. Should the U.S. assassinate suspected terrorists in foreign countries? I don't know. Probably not. Should the government increase environmental regulations to prevent climate change? Yeah. Should the U.S. withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement? No. Seems like it's too late for that. Should disposal products that contain less than 50% of biodegradable material be banned? I mean, sure. If we have we'll just say, yeah. I mean, just make better products. Should the government increase or decrease military spending? Decrease. Should the U.S. accept refugees from Syria? Yes. Should foreign terrorism suspects be given constitutional rights? Yes. They're people. The 2020, Alabama, were held today. Which candidate would I vote for? I guess Doug Jones. Okay, I don't know enough about these people. Which potential candidate will you vote for? I don't know, man. Probably Howie. Like, I still have to research him more, but he's just superior to Joe Biden in every way, it seems. Which qualities are most important to you in a candidate? Intelligence, integrity, common sense, determination, effectiveness, morality, vision. I don't fucking know, dude. Intelligence, integrity, common sense. Can I pick more than one? Yeah, let's do that. And the gun shouldn't be available in the first place, yeah. But why should I get Joe Biden? Green Party 92%, Socialist 91%, Peace and Freedom, Democratic, Republican 1%. Okay. Oh, so they're doing it by parties. They don't have the candidates yet. Transhumanist. Which ones did I disagree with? Transhumanists. Hold on. Seems like I'm trying to find one that I disagreed with about the transhumanists. Oh, the transhumanist says abolish the income tax, disallow all deductions, and increase the sales tax. That's interesting. I don't really even know that much about that. I think someone in chat mentioned that. Mentioned that earlier. It's isidewith.com. I'll put it in chat. Interesting. Is that like a party in the United States? Like, do they have a candidate? Transhumanist president track, which Zoltan is fun. Johann Ben Zion. Oh, it just redirects back to this. So Johann Ben Zion is the Transhumanist Party candidate. Maybe we can look at him at some point. Increasing sales tax is an aggressive tax. It taxes a larger portion of poor people. Yeah, well, it's sales tax is a consumption tax, right? And since lower class people consume more overall, then that means it's a regressive tax. I just want to say I appreciate the streams even though we don't agree on everything. Started watching the Sam Harris vid, made me a fan. I appreciate that. Well, saw that George Floyd profile picture, and that's a no from you. Why is that a no from you? I think that's good for now. I'm gonna have to end the stream in a minute. But it seemed like that was pretty interesting to people, so I might do more stuff like that where I just kind of look over certain things and we can like read the news and go over some different things like that. Especially as we get closer to the election, we can like cover a lot of that stuff. But I do have some stuff to do this evening. Also, I'm pretty hungry. Oh yeah, I forgot I stopped the music earlier. I never put it back on. So yeah, we can do more stuff like that in future streams for sure. What time is it? It is about 7 p.m. here. I do have a new video, should be coming out within a week, I think. In fact, that's one of the things that I have to do this evening is finish up that video. Really glad I discovered your channel. YouTube should reference you more. I agree. But yeah, we'll go ahead and close down the stream here. Yeah, for sure. If you want to make sure you keep up with the streams and the videos, click the notification bell, enable all notifications. I stream every Monday and Friday. The time at which I stream is kind of different every week, but the days are the same, or at least they have been so far. I've been pretty consistent with it. The videos, right now I'm trying to do 2 videos a month. So I'll have a video about mid-month, and then I'll have another video about near the end of the month. That's kind of my plan. But of course, it just depends on my like schedule and all that. Be sure to check the description underneath the stream just for more information about how you can follow me, how you can keep up with me, and how you can support me. But yeah, I think this was fun. Trying to see if there's anything else I need to say here. If you have any ideas for things that we can do during the stream, feel free to like email me or message me in some way. Probably email is the best way to ensure that I'll see it, or Discord. That's another thing I wanted to say. If you are a Discord user, I have a Discord community that you can join. Just go to theonejanitor.com/discord. It's a pretty chill, positive community. I think it is a good reflection of my YouTube community as well. So if you're into that, you can join the Discord. There's a lot of different channels with a lot of different topics, so you can talk about whatever you're interested in. But that's, if you go to the Discord and you tag me, then I should be able to see your comment there. But I guess that's it. So let's see, what's today's date? So I should stream again on Monday, so that'll be the next time I see you. And then next week sometime I will have a next like legitimate video, so look out for that. But the stream should occur before that, so that'll be the next time I see y'all. And that's it. So I will see y'all next time, and I hope you all have an excellent evening or day, depending on where you are. And be safe and be kind to each other. Bye.